Hey, today I'd like to show you how to make your very own dragon egg. To make one, what you're gonna need is a foam egg, a bunch of tacks, metal tacks, a paintbrush, and some metallic paint. I've used a metallic acrylic paint myself. It does require multiple coats to get it to look the right way. I've also heard of people using nail polish and a couple other kinds of paint. So experiment, see what works best for you. So one thing I'm gonna give you a heads up on right away is with these eggs, looking at this egg, it's not very big, right? You wouldn't think it takes that many tacks. There's approximately 200 metal tacks on this egg right here. This bag, this brown paper bag that I've inserted these tacks into, this is about 100 metal tacks. So if you're wanting to do a bigger egg than this, just know you're gonna need to buy a lot of tacks if you wanna do that. Mine is about 2 inches by 3 inches in total at its widest points. So just so you have it for perspective. Oh no, there went one of my tacks. Anyhow, moving on. So as you can see, I've put my metal tacks, I've stabbed them through a brown paper bag here. And the reason I've done that is just to protect my surfaces while I paint. One of the other things I'm gonna do just to protect my surfaces is I'm gonna put something on the table here to protect it. I am choosing to use a plastic bag. I know, and there goes some of my tacks. It's very fancy tablecloth, just a plastic bag cut up. But you know, you work with what you got. And one of the things you'll also notice that's important is when you are punching your tacks through a surface to prepare them to paint, you need to make sure that they are not overlapping on each other. We don't want the tacks to overlap at this point because that way you can get paint on all the edges. If you have it, I would actually recommend a piece of cardboard over a brown paper bag just because it's a little sturdier. So we'll go ahead and get started painting here. Got my gold metallic acrylic paint. I'm just gonna start painting some of my tacks. So I don't know if you can see, but this is not completely covering over the silver on the tack. And also just keep in mind, you don't have to paint your tacks if you don't want to. You could have a silver dragon egg if you so choose. But that's why I recommend doing a couple of coats if you are noticing you've still got some silver shining through and you don't like that look. Give it a few minutes to dry after you do it. Wait till it's almost completely dry. And then just go ahead and do more coats until you're happy. I'm gonna just go ahead and jump ahead again because I don't really wanna paint 100 tacks on screen, and then do multiple coats. So we're gonna go ahead and jump forward in time using the power of movie magic. All right, so jumping forward in time, this is what 200 painted tacks looks like. I had to do multiple coats on them just because, I think I did like 3 on this one just because I just still had more silver than I wanted shining through. But now as you can see, we've got some nice coats on them and it looks really golden and shiny, which is what I wanted. So now that my tacks are ready, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my egg and I'm going to turn it so that the widest end is facing me. I'm gonna find the exact center. I am lucky on my egg because the way that the manufacturers worked is there's actually a little ridged point where I can see where the exact center is. I'm gonna take one of my tacks and I'm gonna put it in that direct center point. That's what it looks like when we're done. All right, so very exciting. We're gonna take another tack and we're going to place it so that it overlaps on top of our first tack on one of the edges. And then what we're going to do is we're going to continue applying tacks so that they're overlapping each other to create that scaled effect. And we're gonna move in a spiral so that it looks fairly uniform. So we've got this one. I am gonna decide to work in, which way is that? Clockwise spiral. And just cause that's how my brain works. And so I'm gonna place this next one, making sure to overlap both of those 2 tacks there. So we got 3, 4. So you can see we're only overlapping 2 scale tacks at a time. We're not worrying about all of them. We're just, if we're working in a spiral pattern like this, we're worried about overlapping the one in front of us and the one to the right. And so you just keep doing that around and around. And as you can see, I don't have any of the white styrofoam visible. We really want those tacks to overlap each other to create that nice scaled effect. If you've got the white styrofoam coming through, it doesn't look quite as authentic as a fantasy creature's egg can be. And it can actually be quite meditative putting those on. Let's go ahead and speed forward and check back when we're getting close to the end. All right, so we've only got a little bit of white foam left on the top of our egg, as you can see. If you look around, we don't have any white showing on any of the sides. That means we've overlapped these correctly. And so yeah, on this last little bit, we're just going to make sure that we're overlapping well on our last few ones. And fortunately, I had a few tacks left over, so I can make sure that looks really good. All right. So now we're done. If you want to, depending on the type of paint you used, you might find that you had some paint chip off as you were doing it. So, you know, this could be a good moment to like do some touch-up work if you find that you're noticing any silver coming through. I've got a few little spots on here that I want to touch up, but make sure just as you leave it that you put it somewhere that it's not going to get paint all over the surface. So I'm gonna put mine on this table here just because there weren't any on the bottom. And there you go. So that's how you make a dragon egg with tacks and a foam egg and just a little bit of metallic paint to make it extra magical.